Welcome to this video where I will be describing how to complete really any task while a button is being held down. In this video, I'm specifically going to address how to change an image while a button is being held down. However, the concepts in this video can really be applied to really any situation. If you're looking for a video that will describe how to change the image of a button once it's simply clicked, there's a different video for that. This is just for when a button is held down and then it will return back to its original image. So let's get started. To start off, let's create the canvas for our button. Now obviously if you're not changing the image of a button, then you don't have to do this and you can just use whatever example that you're doing. So then once my canvas is selected, I'm going to go down to UI again to create the button. Now when you created the canvas, make sure an event system was created as well. If not, then just go ahead and delete the canvas and do it again. And then scale your canvas. Now again, I'm changing my photo. So let's say I want to go from my heart and then while the button's held to this thumbs up. And then obviously when I let go, we want to go back to that heart. So then make sure if you're doing this with images that both of these are sprites, because although it seems that we are changing the image, we are really just changing the sprite component of the UI image. So here is that image that we've created. I'm just going to move this down so that it doesn't cover our button. And as you can see, in the image, there's this source image, and that's where you're actually going to assign the sprite. So if I want to start with my heart, it's going to become a heart. And then what this script is going to do is while the button is held down by the mouse, we want it to change that source image component to this thumbs up sprite so that it looks like a thumbs up. And to do that, create your script. So if you're not doing this specific example, again, create a script. You can do that by right click, create C# script. I named mine change sprite because that is what this example is of. So if we go ahead and open that. Now, starting from top to the bottom. First, lines 4 and 5 are really important. Depending on your example, you may only need one of them or both of them. Now, because we are working with a UI image, again, before we create an image, we need to add line 4. As you can see, it's dealing with UnityEngine.ui. Now, either way, whether you're using UI or not, the way we're going to test, or the way we see that this button is being held down, or that is really by to see if the pointer is down. And to do that, we need to use this event system. So make sure you have line 5 as well. Here, I created my public image. So this is going to be set to that image we created before, and then here are the new and old sprites. And it's really important that you need to create this old sprite, because remember, while the button is held down, we're changing it to that thumbs up, but then afterwards, once the button is released, it needs to go back to that heart sprite. Now, depending on what your goal is, you may need to create a both on pointer down and an on pointer up. So if you only need to do it, let's say, if you're measuring how many seconds that button is being pressed for, you don't need an on pointer up, because then let's say your timer can just be running while the pointer is down. So if you only have one or the other, you obviously don't need to include both up here, but if you do use on pointer down, make sure to have this I pointer down handler, and if you use both, make sure to also include the up one. Now here we're going to be creating these public methods on pointer down, and then as you can see, make sure to include this stuff in parentheses or else it will not work. And so inside this method, we're including the code of what we want to happen while the button is being held down. So although on pointer down in this case is just for while the mouse is being clicked and is pressed down, because we are going to assign this to the button itself, this will only occur when the button itself is being clicked. So when the button is being clicked, we want the sprite component. Again, if we go back to the image, we're changing the sprite, the source image, to our new thumb sprite. And then once we release the mouse from the button, we want it to revert back to the old sprite. Now, in order to do this, when we go to the button, we need to add this script. This is really important that you add it to the button specifically. So you can do that by dragging the script onto the button, or you could also just add it as a component on the bottom. And although, as you might be familiar with buttons, there's this on-click method, we do not need to use that because that's already taken care of with our on pointer down. So again, the image we are changing is going to be this image from our canvas. And again, while it is a heart, the heart is only the sprite component. That's very important to keep in mind. So if we drag our image, and then we drag the new sprite we want, and then the old sprite we want. And then now we can actually play it. And then so while our button is held down, it will work. And to test, as you can see, I'm clicking my mouse, holding it down. I'm not on the button, so nothing's working. But as soon as I click on the button, it changes to our thumbs up, and then when I release, it goes back to the heart. And I can do this again over and over. It's down, up, down, up. Now let's say you only wanted it to happen once. The first time you held down that button and released it, that was it. Then you could create a private boolean to do this. So let's say private boolean clicked button. Now, when our pointer is down, we can either set it honestly in either. So let's say we want clicked button to equal true. And then because we only want this image to change if clicked button is true, we're actually going to put this inside clicked method equals false, click button equals false, equals false, so that if we do this again and we see that it's true, then nothing will happen. And then technically you might want to put the second part back into another if click button is false, but either way it should make no change because then you're just remaining with that old sprite. So if you were to save this and play it, the first time we click on the button and hold it down, it will change. But then the second time we click on the button and hold it down, nothing should happen. So we click it, hold it down. This is the first time, let go. The second time, nothing's happening. Thank you for watching this video. I hope this has helped give some clarification into how to complete really anything when a button is being held down.